If your product has rich text editor, people now expect some kind of AI assistance in it. So they don't need to go between ChatGPT and Claude to summarize something or to make something more concise. They now expect to do it in your editor. And I built a really cool and simple AI editor. And today I want to show you how it works so you can understand it and build it into your product. So I want to start with demo first. There are like 4 pieces to that. First is that I can select the text, press Command J. It will open up this menu. From here I can, for example, make this text, selected text shorter or longer. Let's start with making it longer. You will see that it streams in the response. From here I can accept, discard, or try again. Let's accept that. The next thing is that I can explain this text. Is if I select this text, I press Command J. From here I can also explain it. It will explain the selected text. From here I can insert. I can replace this explanation. I can insert this explanation below. I can discard and try again. Let's, for example, insert it. Next thing is generation. So from here I can go into the empty string to the new line, press again Command J, and for example ask it to how to improve sleep. It will start streaming the response into my editor. After that I can accept it or discard it again. Let's accept that. The next thing is Copilot. So if I'll continue writing, for example, hello, after some time you can see here that it suggests next likely text, and we can keep going and it will continue suggesting text. And this is a very silly and simple example because it is not specific enough. For example, for your specific industry, if you're in finance, let's say, you might prefer some specific language, some specific context that you want to add on top of the selected text and things like that. But I want to show you how it works, and I want to show you how you can extend on that, add additional context and things like that. So let's get into the code and I'm going to show you how it works. And as for the stack, we're using Next.js as our front-end backend, and we're using PlateJS as our main editor, rich text editor, and we're using Mastra for our AI orchestration layer. So in the beginning, user sends a request with editor context. And editor context is basically an array of objects. If we look at the editor itself, so basically each paragraph is a child, and it's represented in objects. So basically this paragraph is an object, something like this type paragraph. It's a simplified version of it, but you get the gist. So it's each one of those paragraphs are represented as an object. So we're sending all this context, all this editor context to the backend with the message that user sends. So this message that user types in here, or it selects here. And also in editor context, we have the selection. Selection is what text the user selected. It's like a range of value. Also, it comes from the editor, and the editor handles that for us. But we have this selection here that we're sending also to the backend, so that we can give additional context to AI which text user selected, so AI can edit this specific text. And if I look at the code and what it looks like in the code, it's a very simple post request. Next.js post request. Here we're getting our body. If we look at the schema here, what we're expecting, and we're expecting the messages, the model as well, and the context, where context is children, as I said, an array of objects, selection. And we have here children, which is represented as value from PlateJS. And here we're also attaching the tool name. So tool name is basically which action we want to perform. If we are selecting text like this, we are going to send this tool name as edit, because we want to edit the text. If we want to insert, then we're sending the insert tool name. I believe insert, right? No, generate tool name. And based on that, we can decide which agent we want to use. And if we go back to our endpoint, here we're simply calling the handle workflow stream. This is a helper function from Mastra. We're passing in here Mastra, putting the input data as our body, and defining the workflow ID that we want to use. We also defined this workflow here in Mastra instance so that we can use it. And then we're just calling create UI message stream response and passing this stream. So it transforms automatically the stream into the AI SDK compatible format. And here we're just passing the stream here in the stream response. And on the front end, we're going to use useChat hook from AI SDK to handle the stream. And if we look at the Mastra workflow, this editor command workflow, this workflow consists of 3 steps. First step is to recreate editor based on the context. So what we're doing here, basically on the backend, we're recreating the editor state from those children. So here you will notice that we're recreating this editor, create editor from request, and we're passing in the selection and the value. And from here we can see whether the user selected the text in the editor. And also you will notice here that we have this function isMultiBlock, which helps us understand whether the user selected multi-block. So not only the single block here, like this, I'm selecting only the single block, but I can also select multiple blocks, right? And because we're recreating the editor with the context that user had, we can now also use the API from the editor to make sure that we're getting the right context and we're giving the right context to AI based on the state of the editor. So here, for example, we have a simple function to assess if user selected multiple blocks. And you can see here that we're using editor.api.blocks. And because we recreated the editor, we can now use the API of the editor with the exact same context that user had on the front end. So we're recreating the editor, and we now have the whole editor on the backend, and we can do magical stuff with it, get a lot of information from the editor API and things like that. And in our case, it's really simple, but you can imagine that you can do a lot of stuff if you have an editor on the backend. Then inside of the step, we're just forwarding all the previous input data to the next step, adding like has selection and isMultiBlock. Also, based on the selection, if we don't have a tool name in our context in our input data, we can, based on the selection from the editor, decide whether we want to use the tool for editing or for generation. And that's it. So this step is just to gather additional information from the editor context. The next step is to resolve the command. So basically what we're doing here is just based on the tool name, we're constructing a prompt for our future AI call. And the reason why to have even this small step here, because all we are doing is just calling two functions and that's all. And why not to do it, for example, in run edit agent step, is because what I learned over the months of using Mastra is that the smaller your steps are, the better for observability, for debugging. So that's why we have this very small and simple step here. And what we're doing here is just based on the input data that we have in our step, we're constructing a prompt for our future agent. We have two functions here, build edit prompt. So what we're doing here is that we're recreating the editor once again based on the request. We're getting the multi-blocks and messages. So if user selected multi-blocks, we are providing a different prompt to AI. And if the user did not select multi-blocks, then we're providing a different context to AI with some additional selections. So let me walk you through it. So here we have a background data, and we're passing into this function get markdown with selection. Basically what it does is just serializes the editor into the markdown, and that's pretty much it. So that then we can pass this background data as markdown to our prompt. And here you will notice that we have this build structured prompt function. That's something that I'm starting to use more and more. Just an easy way to structure your prompts, because you won't miss any of the fields. So for example, background data examples, and if you provide all of them, the more fields you will provide here, the better the response will be, generally speaking. So all this function does is just structures the prompt in a way that suits these tasks, and that's pretty much it. So we have this sections function, which all it does is just adds new line breaks. We have this tag function that all it does is just makes an XML format from the value and the content. And here we're just constructing this prompt through our props from the function. That's it. I find it really helpful to have this function in my recent projects. Then here we're just constructing this prompt. Because it's a multi-block, here we're not mentioning anything about the selection. Then after that, we have this add selection. All it does is just adds to the text of the editor the XML tag for the selection. You can see here the selection tags. So we're inserting before and after the selected text those tags, just to give a hint to AI which text the user selected. And here we're providing the different prompt because it's for selection. And also a cool lesson here is to provide AI with the context that it needs for this specific request. So I could easily put this context about selection for this and just return one single structured prompt. And by separating them, AI that is not going to be working with selection is going to perform better because it doesn't even need to know about the selection, right? So we're providing the background data, the history, an array of messages that we're transforming into the text. The reason why we're doing it this way is because it's just one text. It's just one string because we are not going back and forth with AI. It's just one single request when you send it. So we don't need to worry about managing the history. After that, we are defining the output format, which is just Markdown, defining some rules to not include any commentary, to not include any code fences, and just return the text. Here as well, we're just specifying that we have the selection and that AI should modify only the selection, the text inside of the selection. And that's pretty much it here. For the generate, it's very simple and very similar. So if user selected something, but it's not is multi-blocks, then we're adding again the selection to the text, to the selected text. Then we're just again getting the background data, providing some examples, and again just building out the prompt. And that's it for generation. Very simple, again, similar to edit. After that, we're just forwarding all the input data and the prompt that we generated. Then, based on the prompt and based on the tool name that we have, or based on the action that we want to perform, we're deciding two paths, whether we want to generate text or we want to edit the text. In Mastra, all you need to do is to define branch, and based on the input tool, define the step that you want to run based on the tool name. So run edit agent and run generate agent are really similar to each other. The reason why we're separating them, even though we defined the prompt earlier, is because, again, for observability first, for testability, for observability. And here they're very similar. We're just getting the agent, we're getting the stream, we're passing in our prompt that we've defined with the rules and everything. And then we're just doing pipe 2 to the writer. So we're going to pipe the stream. So basically connect the stream to the main stream, to the writer of the workflow. And after that, we're just returning the branch and the text. And this is just for the debugging in Mastra dashboard. And that's it. For the generate, very similar. We're just defining the agent, getting the agent from Mastra.agent, get generate agent, defining the stream again, putting in our prompt, again doing the pipe to the writer and generating and returning the branch and the text that was generated. And if we quickly look at edit agent and generate agent here, those are really simple. Just they're probably the same, to be honest. You rewrite the selected text inside of the rich text editor, return on the edited markdown content with no commentary. Here, generate agent, you generate markdown for the rich text editor, so it's just one line change. And they're mostly the same. So this for the generation and the editing. For the Copilot, it's very simple and very similar. We don't even have a workflow here. All we're doing here is just getting the agent and calling generate and returning this text as next response. So we're not even streaming the response here. So we're just returning the generated text, and that's pretty much it. And then on the front end, we're applying it, but I'm going to show you how that works. Now let's go to the front end, and I'm going to show you how everything works there. And on the front end, we're using, as I said, PlateJS. I think it's the best rich text editor right now for modern AI applications, because it provides the AI plugin, which is free, unlike TipTap, which is also a great text editor, but all their like AI features and AI plugins are behind the paywall, so you have to pay to use them. In this case, PlateJS provides all the code, all the plugins for free, and you can use it. And the way that it works is that you define the PlateJS editor through the hook, and you provide all the plugins that you want to use. And plugins are all the features of the editor. So like basic notes, for example. Basic notes is very simple, like heading, and you can define component for each specific node of the editor. That's how it works. You just define a lot of different plugins that you want to use inside of your editor and import them into the editor kit and use it in your editor. In this exact fashion, we defined the AI kit, which is basically, again, a plugin. So we're defining this AI chat plugin and we're customizing it a bit. We're defining options to what endpoint we want to call, in our case, API AI command. And here in render, you can define like components. I'm not going to go too deeply into that, but basically after container It's very easy to understand. After container is this loader that you will see here on the bottom. If I do that, for example, and ask it to explain, it won't show up here. But in this case, maybe try with this one. You will see here this menu here, and this is exactly this AI loading bar, I believe, right? Yeah. After editable is our menu, which is this menu. And again, editor just handles it for you. You just need to define components and the position of the component. Editor will handle that for you. Then we're defining shortcuts. Again, really simple, just keys, mod J. As I said, to open up the model window, we need to press Command J. This is what it's about. Then we're defining hooks. Instead of this use hook, we have useChat. Very simple. We're just defining the simple useChat hook from AI SDK, but we're putting it into the plugin context. So you can put this chat into the context of the plugin, so that then we can use it inside of our components through the plugin. Then here we're defining mode and tool name through use plugin options. We're defining this AI chat plugin and defining the option that we want to get. This is something that editor manages. So when you're selecting the text, it will automatically set the mode to be editing, I believe. And for when you are just calling it from here, from here, it will automatically set it in insert mode. Then we're defining use chat chunk, which is also coming from our PlateJS AI React library. So this onChat function will be triggered every time the new chunk comes from the backend. And you can see here that we have some helper functions. So for example, first chunk, then we have a chunk, then we have our text, our content. And based on that, we can do all kinds of stuff. So for example, here is first chunk and mode insert. Then we're just first setting an empty node. And then we're setting the streaming, again, to the option streaming true, so that then we can render to the UI that we're streaming. Have the mode insert, and so we're handling all this kind of cases here. So if we are, for example, in insert mode and the node length is more than 0, you will see here that we're stream insert chunk. Again, this function, this helpful function from the PlateJS AI library. We're passing in our editor, we're passing in our chunk, and it just handles the streaming and the scrolling for you. And for the editing as well, it just has a function, apply AI suggestion, and you pass here editor and the content, and it's going to apply the changes against the selected text that you selected in the editor. So 90% of it is handled by the editor itself and by AI plugin from this editor. So we don't need to do that much. For the Copilot, it's very similar. We're defining the Copilot plugin. We're defining again the complete option, the body, the system prompt that we want to have. We're sending it from the front end. Doesn't matter, we can do it on the backend as well. We're defining the debounds. Render ghost text is the text that when you are typing, like this text, this ghost text. If we go into this text, it's very simple. Using use plugin option, we can retrieve the suggested text and render it as a muted text. And that's it. Again, the editor handles most of the work here. Here we can also specify shortcuts for accepting, for rejecting, accepting the next word, and not the whole thing. I didn't even test that. Let's actually try it. Yeah, so I can accept word by word and not the whole thing, which is also cool. And again, everything handled by the editor itself. So this is very simple. Let's go back to how we are accepting everything and how we are rejecting. And no surprise here, also the editor handles most of the work here. If we go to menu item, here we have menu items. So accept. If we look, for example, at accept, so when we're accepting here, let's say, make it longer. So this accept, discard, you can see here that we're getting the plugin, doing that AI chat, that accept, and we are accepting, and we are focusing to the end. And that's how it works. You just trigger all the different methods from the AI chat plugin, and it just works. For discard, you have hide, you have undo methods. For the submission, you have input, you have tool name, you have your prompt. You just pass it in, here, and it handles the rest. It also sends automatically the additional context to the backend. So based on the pressed menu, we are sending different prompts to the backend. And that's basically how it works. You just trigger all these different methods from the plugin, and the editor handles the rest. That's it. That's pretty much it. If you have any other questions about the editor or about the AI feature, let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.